you know, you're in a different neighborhood.
But I vote.
You do. You do. I don't want to take that away from you. So this is weird, and I'm going to have to say this a couple times. If you are an APS customer and you live in a certain area, you probably have voting rights for the SRP board, and I want to talk to you about why you should care about that. I'll say it a different way. If your house sits on land which about 100 years ago was farmland and which was pulled together by all the farmers as collateral to build Roosevelt Dam and all the canal system, then you have voting rights, even if you don't get SRP power. How do you feel about the fact that nobody has ever told you that? I mean, does it bug you a little bit? Little story, gather round for a story. When I was first elected to the legislature in 2002, SRP, as a way to kind of get to know the legislators and endear them to the company, take you on a helicopter ride up to Roosevelt Dam. And it's amazing. Like, you're on there with like 5 other legislators and a pilot, and they get the helicopter right up next to one of the cliffs. So it looks like the propellers are about to hit the cliffs. It's very exciting. Tell you all the history. Tell you all the history about SRP. I was in the legislature for 6 years, ran the state energy office for 1.5 years. Nobody from SRP ever came and told me, well, Representative Clark, do you know you might have voting rights on our board? People, when I talk to them about it, get a little miffed about that. Because even though it is not the utility that gives you power, the decisions they make affect our air, how much water they are pulling out of the aquifer, and things like data centers and how they approach those and how they do that business. Okay. I'm going to talk to you about SRP registering vote in a couple slides here. Mention that. Oh, here's the other thing I want to make sure you know about. Oh, I'll get to it, I think, in a little bit. And we'll talk about the election. Here's the area. They call it votable lands. The gray area was farmland about 100 years ago when SRP did, all the farmers got together and created that, put all that land in up as Coronado. There's an opportunity here for you to go and put in your address and zoom in anywhere you want on that map. What you're going to find is that yellow area under the word Phoenix, that is not votable lands. Because at the time they did all of this, that was basically, those were all the houses and the businesses and the light industry around Phoenix, or in Phoenix. That was basically the outlines of the city of Phoenix 100 years ago. Kind of interesting historical note. If you look closely, you also see Glendale and Peoria. They're little dots because back then they were just little farming towns. Okay, so be sure to go look at that and put in your address. About 20-25% of Coronado neighborhood is votable lands. Now, if you were to zoom in on my neighborhood, Willow, you'd see about 2/3 of it is votable lands because 100 years ago, 3rd Avenue was basically the boundary of the city. And it was all farmland after that. Okay. All right. This is a close-up of the district I'm running in. District 6, Rio Salado Riverbed. I love how they have it blue. There's water there. So, I told you about the yellow area, old city of Phoenix boundaries, where all the houses were. There's Willow. There you guys. Oh, actually, it's quite a bit more. No, that's right. Yeah, about 25%, the gray area, the northern part of Coronado neighborhood, is votable lands. Goes up to the Arizona Canal. 24th, 27th. If you think you might have voting rights, please register to vote. And I want to talk to you in a little bit about how just a strange, weird board it is, but why it's so important that we do it. Okay. Next one, please. Okay. Here's the vote. The voting rules are, again, Alice in Wonderland looking glass weird. Only people who own a home can vote. I'm already a little offended by that because out of the 1.1 million SRP customers, roughly 550,000 of them have no voice in what happens with their energy. The Corporation Commission does not govern SRP, so they have nothing. Renters and small businesses cannot vote. 1 acre equals 1 vote. Let's think about that. Most homes in Phoenix are 1/6 of an acre. Therefore, you get 1/6 of a vote. If you co-own that home with a partner, you each get 1/12 of a vote. So you both definitely want to register. If you own 40 acres, you get 40 votes. So, now it's, if you, of course, you have co-own the 40 acres, you each only get 20 votes. I'll make sure I say it. So, it's a separate voter registration. It's not, you're not automatically registered just if you vote for city council or mayor or anything like that. 95% of eligible voters don't vote, don't know anything about it. And I understand, like, A, no one told you. SRP spends $5 million a year on advertising, but nothing to educate you about your right to vote. So why would you care? But then also, hey, it's another utility, why would I care? I do want to remind you, we all are affected by what every utility does. So it's important for us to be involved. People, again, are not, they're confused. April 2026 is the election. Seems like a long way away, but it's really not. You're gonna start seeing communications about it soon. Again, even though very few people participate, I'm going to be working very hard, obviously for my own campaign, but I really, really want people to understand their rights. Because again, it just knocked me off my feet to when I learned that I had a right to do this, I had a right to vote, and no one told me. Okay, next please. These are the things that affect APS customers as well. In SRP territory, if you want to have solar panels on your rooftop, up until a rule that just passed, you had to pay 4 times as much as APS customers as a monthly connection fee just to be. Now they just changed the rules so that if you have solar on your home, they will charge you about 30% more for your electricity. Get that one. They are just very anti-solar. They are adding more dirty, water-sucking, gas-fired power plants in neighborhoods that already do not meet clean air standards, happening across Maricopa County. They don't fund the kind of programs that we've all seen over the years where you get rebates on high efficiency air conditioners and things like that. They fund that. They do a reasonably good job, but they don't do anywhere near what they should be doing, in my opinion. The big thing everyone's talking about now is data centers. Data centers waste a ton of water in 2 ways. First, if the data center happens to be one of those kind of evap cool style data centers, that water is just evaporating. They're cooling off their computers, and then the heat is just evaporating into the air. And so is the water. One data center in Mesa that just was approved by Mesa uses 9,400 homes worth of water every year. Cooling. They also use a lot of water when you build more power plants to meet the demands of the data centers. And then on top of that, when they're building all these new power plants, APS and SRP and everybody, it's costing all of us because when you build a new power plant, you distribute the cost of that newer power plant to everybody through their bills. Okay? So we need to be sending a signal to SRP and to APS and everybody that they may not do that. Got it? Okay. I do want to point out a couple things here. This comes from a group called Trout Unlimited. 1 gallon per megawatt hour you don't need to know what a megawatt hour is. 1 gallon of water per megawatt hour to create wind power. 20 gallons per megawatt hour to create solar power. This is over their life, from creating the thing to maintaining the thing. Gas, 300 gallons per megawatt hour to generate electricity from natural gas. 500 for coal, 720 for nuclear. Hydro, 4,500 gallons per megawatt hour. Now, I mean, that's kind of like, I don't know if there's much of a comparison here. I'm not sure I agree with this one because it's a big reservoir, right? They're counting that. Okay, next. Okay. I want to make sure you get this as well. If you are in that SRP territory, but you get APS power, you are eligible for what is called a shareholder rebate. Because there used to be a time, back in the days, when this area was provided power by SRP. But then APS took over that area. There was some kind of agreement that they made. But as a term of that agreement, if you used to be with SRP, now you're with APS, you can get the difference of what you would have paid had you been with SRP versus what you're paying with APS now. So to apply for that rebate every year, follow that QR code. I think it's still open. I haven't meant to check today. I think it's still open. The average person gets about $300 a month, or $300 per year. And you have to be, your bill has to be 15% higher or more than what it would have been had you been with SRP.
So SRP is generally cheaper than APS?
It is. SRP is cheaper because APS has shareholders. And they pay the shareholders. SRP does not.
And they buy political.
I'll let you talk about that part. Yes. So, and also SRP is a nonprofit organization. It's also sometimes characterizes itself as a municipality. But in doing so, it can bond for borrowing money. So it gets nonprofit rates for doing that and tax rates and stuff. You got it? Yeah. Okay. I mentioned this already, fewer than 5% of eligible voters participate. Please, 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 if you can do it, register to vote and participate. Remember that map I showed you? You know, all those districts, they were numbered 1 through 10. There are 10 districts, geographic districts, plus 4 at-large seats total, plus a president, making 15 votes. In April, the even-numbered districts are up for election, plus 2 of the 4 at-large seats, plus president. The ballots are confusing because you're voting for 2 entities, the water side of SRP's existence and the power side of their existence, and each of them has a board and a council, and most of those people are the same that are on both. You could not design a system better suited to confuse people so they don't participate. When you're voting for those districts, it's that acre voting system I told you about. When you're voting for the at-large and president, it's 1 property owner, 1 vote. So if there are 2 people on your property, you each get a vote. But again, if you're a renter, you're SOL. Okay, next one. That's my contact information. My Facebook. You'll be hearing more about this. It's kenclarkleadership@gmail.com, and I'm on Facebook at KenClark4EZ. You'll notice I didn't do a whole long pitch here about my personal background. I'm happy to answer questions because I don't want to dominate the whole thing. Really, my first job here is to make sure you understand this. Again, nobody told you this. And you should be a little bit. So, should I close or do you have questions or what do you want to do?
Does anyone have questions for Ken?
So the current board or any previous board doesn't want people to vote, obviously.
I don't like to assign motives to people, but look, SRP spends $5 million a year on advertising, right? They don't spend a dime to educate you about your voting rights. So, kind of take what you will. They have an opportunity to fix that. They could. But the only advertising that they do, they post some signs on their, near transfer stations, transformer stations, and they put some notices in newspapers of public record.
Is that QR code available elsewhere? I couldn't get it to work for whatever reason.
Oh,
Probably
really?
my crappy old outdated.
Which one did you look at?
Oh, I didn't realize there was more than one.
There was
I
two.
just wanted to see whether my house was in the.
You wanted to, okay, go all the way back to the map. This one here? Look, just Google SRP votable lands,
Okay.
and you'll get that. You'll get that.
Thank you.
Eric, I don't think we're eligible.
Kind of figured. I'm curious though.
Abraham James.
Who's on their board?
Who is on their board? Well, there are 14 board members, 1 president, and there are 30 council members. So each one of these districts has 1 board member and 3 council members. So I don't have the list here, but there are a lot of people.
Anyone would know.
Oh, sorry, yes. Well, I mean, Sandra Kennedy, who used to be a corporation commissioner, is on the board. She's one of the at-large seats. She won in 2022. She'll be there for 4 years. She's probably the most notable person. I don't know, am I missing anybody of him?
Harry Carter?
No, he's Central Arizona Project Board. Yeah. Good. All right. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you so much.
Quick question. Who's running against you?
I don't know yet. So there's a gentleman who's been in District 6 here for about more than 20 years, from what I understand. And his name's Jack White, not the musician. But there's another guy, I think, who's looking at running as well. I know Jack owns about 14 acres of land up in north central Phoenix somewhere. So that obviously he gets 1 acre, 1 vote. Maybe it just kind of helps him get reelected.
Isn't Turning Point putting like $10 million into this election?
Turning Point USA has announced that they're going to hire about 100 field organizers in this election because they want to remove the people who have gotten on the board who are supportive of clean energy and energy efficiency. So of the 15 board members, 6 of them are all people who have supported clean energy and energy efficiency. And of course, I am a supporter of that. So if I win and 1 other person wins, then it'll be the largest utility in the country controlled by people who support clean energy. Some pretty national news, but that's why there's a reaction to that. The Turning Point folks would like to see us shut down clean energy and go back to coal and gas. Thanks for the prompt. Yeah.
Volunteer opportunities for your campaign, if any?
Wow, thank you. Yes, if you send me an email. I didn't prepare for that because typically with neighborhood associations, I try to, not talk so much about campaigns, but that's my email address. I would very much appreciate some help. We're a small ragtag group of folks. Trying to make it happen.
I'll shoot you a note.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Ken.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
do we need a computer?
The only slides left say open forum, and I guess it's some of our QR codes to find us on websites and stuff like that.
Do you want to grab it? It's nice we don't have a blue screen.
You could have turned it off.
That is also true.
It's off, Kirsten.
Kirsten, don't worry about it.
So it looks like everything north of Virginia is votable land, and a little bit of south of that on the east side.
Donna Reiner posted something last week. She did a zoom in screenshot of the map. Yeah.
And JT, you're right. I think it's like where we live. It's cut off by 16th Street. So if you're east of 16th Street, you would be. But if you're on Virginia,
Well, work to help share that information too. Especially if you want to give us your slides, we can post them with like meeting notes, just help get the word out.
Okay.
Monica, our host, we want to thank you for having us again. Do you have any updates?
McAlpin's updates. We did a pinup fundraiser last weekend, which was just great. Just something kind of different, just trying to think of new ideas. We're gonna have a store liquidation sale sometime in November, because I want to empty out the front room so we can do some fun stuff over there. Pies in November. Last year, we had one lady order over 100 pies, so we shut them off like a week before Thanksgiving, so it just depends on the orders, but.
Order early if you want them.
Order early if you want them. And years ago, an Amish lady from Indiana rode the train out here and spent a month baking with us, so our pies, we think, are exceptionally good because we had such an amazing teacher. Still open 7 days a week, Sunday through Thursday, 11 to 3, Friday and Saturday, 11 to 8. It's my super terrible time of year. Tell your friends. Last fall, I liquidated my retirement and sold my family's jewelry, so this fall, we're just like hustling to make it work. But yeah, tell your friends and come see us. And thank you for coming tonight. I recognize a lot of faces, so appreciate you coming back.
Monica and her family and her team are incredible partners with the CNA and just the neighborhood, the neighbors overall. Sorry about our reception here. We are actually, on that note, makes it kind of sad, but we're going to be moving our next couple of meetings. We've done 3 here now, so we're going to spread the love a little bit. We're going to do our next couple of meetings on Dowell at Authentic Ethio-African. Okay. That was awkward. Yes, Authentic Ethio-African. So if you're driving down McDowell, it's on the north side, east of 16th Street. Kind of near where that space coffee used to be. They took over their space. And we'll have more information. So please join us at that meeting. We'll probably have some snacks out for people. And we will see you hopefully at all of these events we've talked about. Who's going to the museum, art museum? Woohoo, that's a great group. Awesome. Who's doing the street cleanup at Coronado Park, the park cleanup? Oh, that's almost sad, guys.
Come on.
It's so much fun.
It's so fun.
You're gonna love it.
Yes. Who's doing, what comes after that?
Bike ride?
Critical mass with the family, bike rides. Yeah, I don't have any kids, so it's gonna feel awkward if I go. We have the Halloween bike ride, pet parade, food trucks. Cool, all right, so I should see a lot of your faces this month. I'm excited about that. Thank you everyone for coming tonight and giving up your Thursday.